Hello, Sunday, day 2, weekend 11, lineage. What's the deep body work? How does it want to live through us? How do we carry it into the world? What responsibility we have to it now? And what is that first iteration of your creative field work in the world with the deep body method? That's what we're going to be talking about, partially continuing to talk about today. And we're going to start with a little practice that Carmen will guide us through. But I think while people are dropping in and still arriving for another minute or so, I wanted to take temperature and see if there what's moving since yesterday around lineage and how I carry it and what the soul of the work is speaking to me, or how I feel about expressing the deep body thing with words, or just any of the things that came up for you yesterday that you want to comment on or ask a question about or share an inspiration about or a concern about, if anything's alive from the call we already experienced. Feeling close to, ripe, and honored to be part of this lineage. Beautiful. Anna's saying, so I'm going to read this again because I wasn't sure what you're saying at first. I thought maybe you're having like a different kind of experience. But Anna says, feeling close to, ripe, and honored to be part of this lineage. Hello, Erica. Hello, Nina Rubea. Good to have you back. I think we might be without Nadia today, or she might be a little late, and then Darren's not here today either. But yeah, what else? Is there anything? Oh, and Irmak's running late. Is there anything else you want to ask about? Or yeah, Josephina.
I just wanted to say that after yesterday, I realized how important it actually is to begin to speak about it, speak about the work, and um, how important part of the process it is. I think especially for me because I like already have practice and a body of work that I teach, and like an identity as someone that is facilitating something different. And stepping into this as a beginner has been actually kind of scary to step into this identity of the beginner and also hold the other identity of someone that has some experience in a different field. And I think like for me, it really crystallized how important it is to actually begin to put it even more out there, for it to become even more real in my practice and in my work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for bringing that in. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really such a vital part of beginning to own it. And I don't mean like own it
Mm.
as ownership, but beginning to claim it, beginning to claim the lineage, beginning to make it a part of your path and your work and your life and your language. And right, it's really pretty significant. I think, yeah, it can feel like almost trespassing at first, right? Like I'm aware. And among other things, also, it could be, as we found out together yesterday, it could be really difficult to find the right words. But then, as we started collectively weaving some words, like what is the deep body? What is the deep body work? By the time before I even shared my own definition, I think, it was Mouse who spoke right before me. And I think, she was already like, maybe that was her own language, right? But she was weaving all of what you were saying earlier. And somehow I felt like a collective ripening of like language that we arrived to. And yeah, so yeah, I agree with you, Josephina. What else? Is there anything else moving, wanting to be named, good or bad, easy or uneasy?
I feel like one of the things that the way that I find myself engaging with the work is like, of course, we're focusing on the body, but it's such a spiritual practice. It's such a way to pray, make contact with the divine, to open and to receive the universe. And so, and like the way that it's showing up in how I want to bring it forward is in that explicit invitation, and using the language of spirit, and encouraging people to create their intuitive relationship with spirit. And so that's one of the things that I feel isn't quite held in the definition of the deep body. Like, it is sort of ancestral and sort of their cultural, archetypal, these dimensions. But like for me, there's like a disservice when spirit isn't explicitly named.
Mm. Which is beautiful because it is a living definition that you can add on, and I was even going to ask you about this today, all of you, about is there a missing layer of the body that you want to add on to this model? Because I've been thinking about I think of the deep body basically as the whole thing, but also as the center, which is soul, spirit, the eye of wholeness, right? But maybe we need to add an extra layer. Maybe we actually need to explicitly be naming the thing that spirit is. Well, it's not a thing, but and so I encourage you all, and maybe, Mouse, for you, it's really important, and it's feels like, it would be a disservice, as you say. So feel free to add it, of course, right? And then Anna was saying yesterday how she doesn't feel comfortable talking about, this, maybe her clients would not be so easily relatable with the word soul or spirit. So maybe Anna is using a slightly different doorway with the language, right? But we're still taking people to the same place, right? So the language is a living and evolving language. And I was just thinking about it today. It's amazing you brought that up, Miles, because I just thought today that one of the ways I think of this work is that we work with the spirit of the body, or the spirit and the body, right? The soul of the body, which for me are generally similar things. So yeah, we can continue adding on. Is there anything else to be shared?
Yes.
Hi, Erica.
Hi. Hello from Greenville, South Carolina, in the US. I'm visiting my parents for the next 2 weeks. I'm sorry I missed class yesterday. I was in the plane. And I will catch up with the video sometime today. But I just wanted to share that I did a group guiding about a week ago. And it was a group of women from my office, a small group, just 4 women. And it's such a different dynamic, as you know, getting a group. But in my experience of doing it, when I do one-on-ones, especially with all of you, I don't have a need to explain what I'm doing. And so doing that group, I had to prepare to say how I was going to explain the work. And that was such a good practice. And I have since then guided someone else in which I prefaced the session by talking about what we were doing and why I'm doing it. So it was such a good practice, and it just kind of sank more deeply for me, in terms of how important I feel that this work is for me and that I bring it to other people. And also in the group session, the women in my office, the interest at the end of the session, all of them were writing profusely. I had told them to bring a journal. And towards the end, I mean, it went on longer than I had allocated, but they wanted to stay. And they were so hungry and so connected afterwards and wanting more sessions. And I was like, wow, it was just beautiful. So I just wanted to share that.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Yesterday was partially, well, it was, yeah, we spent quite a bit of time thinking together about how we define the work in the most succinct, powerful, potent, clear, and also just kind of way that does justice to the work and justice to the method and the complexity of it, right? And so we're still with that. And I'm happy you're bringing that in because the practice, like just doing it, talking about it, it's like, whoa, that's like really a first step, big step of the process. We also spoke about, just because there's a couple of you who were in here yesterday, but we spoke about lineage and what the lineage of this work is and what the lineage of somatic work is. That like rests on indigenous shoulders and very ancient indigenous wisdom and practices that weren't called somatics, but were definitely the backbone of what somatics is today. So yeah, okay. So I'm wondering if we can begin or continue with a little bit of movement. Let me know, Carmen, if you're feeling up for that today. Like how is it feeling in the moment? Okay, good. And yeah, we're going to spend about 15 minutes or so, and then we're going to come back and speak about our creative field work. You will each have a chance to share a little bit about it. And I guess it feels important to say that yesterday as well, we very importantly, we spent like a really good portion of our time, good chunk, connecting through movement and embodiment and witness practice, witness circle, to the soul of the work, to the soul of the deep body work, and how it moves in each person and how it wants to meet and challenge and ask of each person to carry it, to bring it into the world in their particular individual ways. Oh, and now I'm seeing that Andrea B is saying, last night I have been dreaming a lot about the work. I woke up with a strong feeling of excitement of being part of this community and this lineage and being able to share this medicine with the world. Oh, yes, so beautiful. I love it when the dreams wake up, that continue the journey, right? And the living time. And Nina Rubea says, my 85-year-old mother asks me today what this training is, and I use sensations to start explaining. She is very interested and wants to know more. That's beautiful. Yes. One way to explain what the work is just to begin guiding it right away. Well, can you close your eyes and notice your body and just get them going instead of explaining, right? So beautiful. All right, Carmen, you feel free to share your sound. That will kick my sound off, which I actually just did that. So you're welcome in. We can do some moving. You're muted still, sorry. If you're trying to share your sound. Yes.
I was just having a bit of an issue with my headphone. Can you hear my sound now?
Yes. The music can be a little louder, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna just adjust. So as I'm adjusting my space in the room, just take some nice centering breaths. Be present in your space and in your body. Looking around, taking in this space.
Carmen, just one thing. I think the music now is a little louder. I have a hard time hearing you. So just Music down, sorry.
Yeah, for some reason it's playing on my.
Right now we can hear you perfectly and the music too.
Yes. Coming into the body, into this stretch, the presence through your hands, through your touch. How's the balance of the sound right now? Can someone give me a bit of a hand signal? I see up. Is that for my voice or for the music for my voice? Okay. So I'm gonna try without my headphones. Yes. Fully into your own movement. Abandoning your body. Bringing a gentle sway into the body, or rather letting the sway out. Maybe the sway is starting in your ankles. Or perhaps you feel it emerging in your hips, taking something in the base of your spine. Let it move you. Feeling play in your shoulders, out into the tips of your fingers. Perhaps there's something that wants to be shaken or felt with the tips of those fingers. Soft and feathery or claw-like, taking in your direct environment and waking up the sensual animal awareness of your skin, the hairs on your skin or on your scalp, feeling into the space around you. Here we are again with the rhythm and the breath. Maybe it evokes a memory of sun touching your face, or a breeze gently caressing your cheek, your shoulder. If it feels right, bring your hand there. Trace that memory on your skin. Let your arms reach, expand that sensory awareness out with each movement of your arm, with each step of your foot in your space. Exploring, claiming that space for you.
And as you let the head fall, or the arms stretch, or the feet explore, notice if some other movement wants to emerge as well. Maybe there's a repetition, a shaking that wants to happen from the base of your arms out into your fingertips. A swaying that starts in your chest and undulate to your back and hips. Maybe it's the slithering arms finding their way out from the hips into the space. Weak woman, wind woman, wild woman. What shape does your body want to show you? Are you expanding from your chest? Or rising from your roots? Curving, undulating, rolling, reaching. And where does this shape want to take you? Liberate your breath. Let it make a sound. Ah. Find the sound that rings true for you now. Try it out in your own private space. Sing it into the space. And let the space receive your sound and shape. And here, as we're transitioning to a new song, noticing how your breath moves. Maybe an emotion has surfaced, something that wants to be seen and felt. Lean into that. Let your movements help you feel it even deeper into your pelvis, into your belly, into the space your heart holds. Offer that emotion and curiosity. Show me, show me, show me. Show me what space and what shape you want to take. Sweet emotion. Is there a tenderness? Breathe with it. Is there a roar? An untaming that wants to happen? Roll with that. Is there a joyful, gleeful laugh that wants to be let out? It. This is your space. Give your full self to this space, this moment, this movement, this shape. What is the truest shape? As you repeat the movement and notice what it wants to show you. Maybe it's evolving. Maybe it's longing to be smaller, just for a moment, or slower. Or perhaps it wants to be bigger and bolder. Whatever it wants. And you just let it. And you let it shape you. And it show you. And it reminds you some truth your soul remembers. And maybe this movement, this shape, has a word or a healing tone, like the key to your question, the question you perhaps didn't even know you were asking. Take this word or this image and offer it to your body. Let it move you. Let it stretch your arms or stroke your chest and face. Let it open your hips or let it hold you as you rest in it. Oh, the sweetness of feeling it. Even if it is heavy, even if it is hard perhaps, it is yours, and it is sacred, and it is here. Breathing, breathing, breathing. Feeling the shape perhaps now take form like a snapshot so that you can fully feel it in every cell, so that you can absorb its medicine, its message. Like a statue, you can hold it. It can shape you. And it can remind you of a truth only you can discover. And as we enter the silence, I also invite you to slow down your movement if you are still deep in the movement, and just let your body settle. And maybe there's a soft touch that you can offer yourself as you slowly bring your awareness back to your skin and your shape and also your position in the room. Breathing here. Letting whatever surfaced land, whatever was moved, just letting it settle. And in your own time, opening your eyes to your space, and gently making your way back to our circle, to your screen. Staying with your breath as you land again on your seat. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you so much, Carmen. Thank you. Feel free to put a word or a phrase in the chat if you want to anchor something from this practice. Yes, Andrea, what a beautiful practice. Thanks, that was just so needed, she says.
Mm.
Indeed. Thank you, Carmen. Again, if you want to anchor a word or a phrase from this space, you're welcome to do that in the chat. I feel like there was so much in Carmen's guidance here that was kind of exemplary of the essential guidelines of suggestive language and putting everything on the body and naming the body and creating movement in different ways without obligating in any way. And we can touch back on these things later on the call today. Ooh, look at that. Josephina says, thank you, Carmen. I really needed to move emotions. Yeah. Andrea L says, loving, guiding message. Michelle says, deep opening, following the wisdom of my own movement, permission to drop in and sense. Andrea L says, so much permission, allowing. Yes, yes, right? So much permission, so much allowing. Erica says, I feel more deeply grounded in the deep body. Yes, beautiful. Yes, thank you, Carmen.
Thank you for the opportunity to guide. It's good to see you all, your faces and your bodies.
Moving, yeah. Yes, so as we continue speaking about lineage and working with lineage and how you carry it, obviously a very natural next step is to think about or to discuss and to presence your field work, vision, excitement or trepidation, just to hear from each one of you about what is it that you're offering? What is your offer? What is your deep body movement offer? What is your deep body offer to your community right now, your first initial offer? And as we hear you speak, and I know we've already worked with that, you've worked with that in the pods, I have looked at all of your projects and I have an idea, but just for all of us to really begin wrapping our minds and bodies around your ideas and visions, and to also, hear about, if you do have struggles or questions or things that you think you need to be helped with within the preparation of your creative field project, feel free to name it now. As I said yesterday, you're going to have 3 minutes. We're going to try and keep a pretty, not tight, but pretty timely, with these things. So if you see me do this gesture, maybe pay attention, to the screen every now and then as you speak. If you see me do this, it means you're at the end of your time. You don't have to cut it off right away, but if you take another 15 seconds, then you will hear the bell. And then, your time is up. So 3 minutes just to say, what is it that you're doing? How are you thinking of doing it? Who is it for? What is the title of it? And anything that you want to share about it, anything about the structure, the approach, and your excitement about it, or anything you want to share. And I'm going to call on people just so that oh yeah, it's right here. Okay. So I'm going to say your name and invite you to step in. And if you're not quite ready to go into it, you can pass and I'll come back to you. Let's start with Andrea L.
Yeah. Hello to everyone. Um, so I thought of offering a project in a class that already exists. It's my Friday women class that a lot of them coming to this class since 15 years, so I know them pretty well. But some are also new. And the offer will be in person, and it will be 90 minutes every week. And I will start in mid-October and end mid-December, so 10 weeks. And the main topic is the wound, exploring the wound in us, because while working with the archetypes, with Caroline Missy, but also Miss, and with you, and etc., I so much discovered that one of my maybe still deepest archetypes is the wounded healer. Because of my biography, like all, we have a lot of wounds, and that is like a fine balance line to not lose ourselves in the wound and become a victim of the wounds that have been inflicted to us, but also see what we learned through wound, what we learned through suffering. And I'm talking really, in my case, about body wounds. I mean, losing my left leg, breaking my spine. I had so many physical things in this sense. So, but then the physical wound was a reflection of a soul wound, of a psychic wound, very much as well. But then and that was when I was very young, 16, 19, 22. And I learned so much in this time of being wounded, being at the edge, at a threshold sometimes between here and there, and also discovering what treasure, what lies in a wound. And I want to discover, that was a little bit of a biographical introduction, why I choose the topic. I want to work with a mythological acupuncture because this, I really fell in love with this mythological acupuncture, as Michael Mead calls it, and Stefan introduced us to this, with 3 stories as a homage to Clarissa Pinkola Estes, who really gave me so much. Oh, sorry, yes. So 3 stories. The bone woman who gathers the bones from animals and then puts them together and sings, and the singing is like a expression of the soul, and with a song she enlivens this creature to life again after, yeah. And then the second, I will finish soon. And the second story is the bluebird, Bluebeard in English, sorry, Blaubart in German. I don't enter in the story. And the how you say that? The last story is Girl Without Hands, because I was paralyzed for a lot of time and had no hands, and that was very and so I will talk about that as well with these 3 stories. That's all for the moment. You're muted, Stefan. I don't hear you.
Thank you so much, Andrea. It sounds so rich and so deep and such powerful work. I'm really curious how you're going to bring those into the body, right? Like the stories and the concepts. So beautiful, beautiful proposal and idea. And I'm going to Andrea B.
Hello. So my project will be called Elemental Embodied Journey, Reclaiming Your Voice, Your Power, and Aliveness. It will is designed more for women who wants to connect more with their bodies, who are seeking belonging, community, women who are navigating life transitions or stress and wants to reclaim their power, their voice. It will be structured in 4 different sessions, working with each element. It will be combined with another facilitator. It's a friend who does sound healing. So the journey will start with sound healing, making an altar with each element, everyone bringing some prompts to connect, like natural objects to connect with each element. And then going through the deep body journey. I'm thinking to work with archetypes and storytelling and maybe some inner parts work. And then having witnessing, and at the end with drawing and journaling, and again maybe ending with a sound journey for grounding in that element again. And I'm hoping to get more, to offer more self-awareness of the body, to help them connect more with their inner truth, soul purpose, bringing more aliveness. It will be designed first for women in my inner circle, so friends and people I know. It will be live in Copenhagen, and hopefully also in the nature. So it will be direct contact with elements.
Yeah. Thank you, Andrea B. Wow. I love how much clarity you have on the just envisioning the space and the sound and the coming in and your audience, like what kind of needs people have, right? That's beautiful clarity there. Thank you so much. And Petra?
Okay. My field project is a deep body journey with the source codes, unveiling the intelligence of the body. The source codes is a course by Sarah McCrum, and I got permission to take those with part of the group I'm working already with, and I have a group of 6 women who live their life and have a lot of experience and know that they want to experience more and want to have more contact with their body and live those or have the experience of those codes through the body. What's very different to the meditation form where we received those. And so those codes are the well of being, the well of wealth, life loves itself, the elements of life, the stream of life, the wealth is in the community, life sounds itself to being, and life loves to be described. So it's eight meetings, and every meeting has its own theme, and with using the tools from the deep body by the body report and the slow dance and taking those to the experience, what those codes may be or may not be, and where we are meeting them in our bodies, and how can we bring them to life. The meditation experience was life transforming, and I really would love to have those experience more visceral, like tangible, like there is more in them. And I would like to dive into it. And it's not as much my personal, yeah, okay. So it's enough. It's enough. No,
You can finish your sentence.
Yeah,
You can,
it's not exactly my personal genius, but I knew I can create a group. I will have a project, and that was more important than to have it exactly. And everyone in the group will have a single session with me and one-on-one, and there I can touch into the personal genius more.
Beautiful. Thank you, Petra. So cool to see two different methods coming together and just really beginning to marry one thing you've studied with the other in such a like direct, clear way. I'm excited to see what happens. And let's hear from Nicole.
Okay. My project is called Reclaiming Your Wild Woman, a deep body journey to reconnect with your inner essence, or with true essence. And I'm going to do one whole day workshop, mainly for women in midlife that are kind of maybe a bit stuck or a bit are in a place where don't really know what now. Maybe they have, worked for a while and maybe to have children and get to this place or in midlife and kind of, okay, what now? And maybe not so connected to their core anymore. That's definitely something I can recognize for myself. And I'm going to work with stories or with the Selkie story or the seal woman. And that's basically a story about the seal women who go to the shore and take off their seal skin, and there are these beautiful women dancing in the moonlight. And one night a fisherman sees them and he steals one of the skins. So this woman can't go back into the sea. And he begs her to come with him and stay at his house and get married and they have a kid. So she goes reluctantly with him and lives there for a couple of years. But the longer she's there, the more she gets kind of dried up and sick and kind of loses her essence. And after some years, her little son finds her seal skin, and gives her back to her so she can go back into the sea. So I want to work with these themes of being when we're living our life, maybe out of expectancies and all the jobs we have to do, responsibility and things we have to do kind of from the outside, that we get maybe dried up and what are we longing for and what parts in our life maybe are dried up. And then who are we when we put back on the seal skin and are the wild woman in the sea, in the ocean, where we're free and are more close to our true essence. So I want to work with these two states, and then doing storytelling and then working with witnessing and also with some writing and drawing for integration, and kind of all around that with the water as element as well. So it's kind of going to be a whole day journey through these themes. And it's going to be live here. I found a studio here in Copenhagen that I could rent. So we're going to have fun. Yeah, that's it.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Nicole. I'm glad to hear it crystallize into even more like real clarity. One day, deep journey. I love hearing you flesh out the ways the story actually applies to midlife women's longings and searches, and so exciting. I want to go to all of these workshops so far. How about you guys? I want to go to all of these. Let's hear from Josefina.
So my project is called Body Full, and it is a part of a group program that I already run every 6 months, and it's going to begin in September. So it's pretty soon. And in this program, I have group sessions where I teach matricentric feminism. So it's for mothers and women that are between very new postpartum and 3 to 5 years postpartum. Yeah, so I have the group sessions where we speak and we teach, and then we have the Body Full where we move together. And it's going to be a 6-week program, and we're going to meet to move together 2 times a month. And I think with the people I work with, there is this mismatch of they're super intuitive and sensitive, but they're also very closed off and also like very in this good girl, good mother conditioning. So I want to create this progression where we just begin with the small dance and just begin with connecting with the body in a very like non-abstract way. Just work with interoception, the small dance, and to begin to introduce the deep body work. And then I'm gonna build it up to introduce some more wildness in the second session with the wild woman archetype. And from there on, we're gonna work with the sensual anatomy and the third month. And this is also very important because these women have given birth. So recently, so the womb space is really just such a tender place to go when you've given birth. And there I'm going to focus a lot on safety and pendulation, and really to like just make sure that it's not too overwhelming. And we're gonna also end with the seal woman. So it was, you already described it, which it's very applicable to this particular group as well. And I've had some struggles with how I'm gonna animate the story, but I think I found it to be like some sort of journey where we have the room into like the 2 parts where she lives and cooks and cleans and does all the things that are expected of her, and then the second part of the room, which is the wild woman and the sea, and where she replenishes and goes to just be herself. Was it?
Goes
you.
to just be herself. Yeah. Wow. I was really feeling all the details and coming into the room and feeling the mothers who have given birth, working with the woman, just rejoicing, really rejoicing for them, really excited for this opportunity for them, body full. So good. Thank you, Josefina. Yes. And let's go to Stephanie.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. I'm excited, but I'm a little bit stressed because also yesterday when you mentioned like we will have to tell about the project, the field work, I feel just stressed like what am I going to tell if it's my time? And I feel it already from the beginning of the call. I'm super stressed. I try to move with it, but I'm still there. And after all the movement yesterday, which was very strong for me to reconnect with the endless dancing woman inside. That was opening up something within me, and I'm right now on an island where all around me there is sea, and I start to get washed and cleaned. This was also the information yesterday, that all that I have to do is to keep the vessel clean and to move with everything that is, and is such a way for me to bring it into concrete work. And I had a group 2 weeks ago, and I was standing there, and it was a small group, and I just felt like I was always doing it. So natural, because I had the words, and I felt the women moving around me. But it was just natural. That was also what came up to me yesterday. Like the deep body movement is just my natural way, my natural language to move through the world. And I have to stay in my truth. I want to stay in my truth, and I learned to stay in my truth, and I learned to stay in my body. That was my journey, to stay in my body and not to go away anymore, to offer my body to my soul to stay. I can stay present, and I can stay, and emotions can come and go, and yeah, maybe it's not the moment to share. Maybe that was before, but sometimes I miss the timing. But this also very important for me. The project still feels a little fragmented, but I learned to stay with fragmentation, which is a big lesson for me. Maybe one of my life lessons, to stay with fragments and just to give it the time till the things that want to arise. And like this, I can also see it with the project. I have ideas, very concrete ideas. There's going to be a workshop in November. This is going to happen. I know, I already feel it. I already see myself moving with the women. I know that I get informed from places. It was so beautiful what you mentioned yesterday from the indigenous way of getting informed from places, and in the same time with our bodies we inform the places. And I'm sure about that, and I hear the bell ringing. And another anchor I am sure to set, to keep my vessel clean and empty. And this is what I will offer also for all the other bodies, is I will move with every new moon. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. There's so much there. And yes, thank you for articulating this and trusting the power that moves you to your truth and staying with that as the raw, basic power of your work. Yeah, thank you.
I know, thank you.
Indigo.
All right. So my project is called Brave, a deep body journey into embodied self-expression. And it's I'm still figuring out if I'm going to do 6 or 8 weeks, but it's a program that's essentially about peeling back the layers that inhibit self-expression. So it's an invitation to embrace your unique human nature that is alive and sensing and expressive, and really living and creating from a place of deep authenticity that's rooted in the natural world. And I really the core of it is deconstructing the social body. So this sense of like external life and internal life and harmonizing those two and seeing the ways, really confronting the limiting stories and beliefs that have kept us muted or small in our body, in our voice, in our imagination and our ability to see ourselves as creative beings. And about, cultivating the body as a sanctuary and harnessing the full intelligences that exist in our bodies at all times. And I just think at the core of it, I want to lend the gift of self-expression as an intuitive healing practice. And that exercising, I'm also going to draw upon my training in the expressive arts and whatnot, but that how transformative physically it can be to move your body, how physically liberating it can be to find yourself speaking in sync with your thoughts, and to actually give yourself permission to explore the ideas of your mind. But rather than getting too far into the creative journey aspect, I'm really going to start at the place of like really deconstructing social norms and the way that like our social story has in some ways kept us in the closet. Yeah.
So powerful, Indigo. Thank you so much. Sounds like you're going to be working with the social body quite a bit, at least at the beginning. And I love also that you're going to be on the land. Like this is on the land, right? That like part of it happens on the land.
I would like to figure out a way to do so. Yeah, I think I'm going to begin on Zoom with a group and then figure out a way to have an in-person gathering at some point. Yeah.
Brave. Thank you. Sounds beautiful. Thanks so much. And we're going to go to Nina M.
So my project is called My Body is Made of 1,000 Ghosts, a deep body exploration of the colonial wound and a reclamation of tools of disruption. So the starting point for me was a simple observation that the colonial wound is still very much alive today in social, political landscape, in the collective, in our families, and in our own bodies. I feel we are haunted by the ghosts of the colonial past, be it the colonizers or the colonized. And I myself have a lineage of colonizer and colonized, survivors of genocide and survivors of displacements, forced or chosen. And so it's a very, very tender spot for me, but it feels so true to do it. And so I'm offering a 5-part journeys consisting of workshops of 3 hours. Right now, I have chosen to focus on the first part and offering to maybe 3 groups, and then see who wants to continue the journey. Yeah, that's the structure I've chosen right now. I will have, I think, 2 online groups, one in English, one in French, and one in-person group in Paris. I think I've found a place to do it. And so the idea would be to use somatic exploration, intuitive movement, and poetry, also using a metaphor I've designed, which is called the Colonial Palace, which is the idea that the colonial structure is inside of us, outside of us, and even if it cannot be seen in all its ramification, we can still choose to go in front of it, go inside of it, acknowledge it, and see where our colonizer part is, where our colonized part is, how they interact to each other, and how we can move with them. Yeah, and I think my audience is men, women, non-binary folks, aged 25 to, we'll see who wants to come. White, PRC, mixed race, whatever. But also they have received, I think, a Western education, or like at least Eurocentric views of the world. And they must have like theorized, questioned themselves about this colonial wound, but have yet to really feel it in their bodies, to move with it, and to be in community with it.
Oh, I'm so excited this is coming into the world and is being offered, Nina. So vital and important. And I love how much clarity I have about it already. And the metaphor, the palace, the inner, the outer palace, the structure of colonialism. Wow, just so beautiful. And weaving poetry into that. Just, we should all take a flight to Paris and join you. Thank you, Nina. And let's hear from Erica.
Okay, thank you. My field project is focused on women from the ages of 30 to 55, 60, and who work in the international humanitarian environment, so the UN. We we take care of people in our families, our husbands, our parents, or children, and then we go to work, and then we're taking care of the world. And so we have this heavy moral obligation that we always are. We're not taking care of each other, of ourselves. I mean, we're taking care of everyone. And being in this environment, I see not only that, but you have to be diplomatic in everything you do and how you are showing up. And so you hide a lot of your raw feelings, emotions, because you must be diplomatic. You put yourself aside even more. In addition to that, the higher you go into management in the International Humanitarian Organization, it's still very much a very masculine type of management. And so again, you have women in their careers climbing the international humanitarian world and still setting aside, or even more, burying themselves, their true selves. And so at the management level, you're still taking care of the world. You're forced, because all of the courses that we're told to do, they're all still masculine focused in the management style. And so it's continuously driven into us to be masculine. And so again, we're not ourselves. And so I feel there is a need to allow space for women to release these costumes, these other the disguises that we've had to do, the diplomatic disguise, the manager disguise, and having a space to move deeply, with all of the somatic languages going out down into every layer of the body. And so my session is, it's looking a bit different than what I submitted. Since I've guided this group last week, more light is coming into how my field project should look like. So it's going to be changing, and I will be offering, thank you for the cue, deep body, an inner space, an inner small dance, and then a separate session focusing on emotions and releasing the emotions. A third session on sensuality and sexuality and your power there, and then a fourth on archetypes and visualizations through storytelling. So I will leave it here. Thank you.
Who else here is excited that this work is going to the UN? Hello. This is so exciting, Erica. I think it's been years since I've been wanting for this to happen, and so excited that this is happening. I really wish we can sneak in and be there in all of these environments with each other and really root for each other and cheer each other on. This is so beautiful. Thank you. And Irmak.
See. Okay. My project, I don't see myself. Okay. My project is called Exiled, a journey of returning home, and it is about, it works about the rejection wounds and uses storytelling that has skin symbolism, like fox woman, seal skin, soul skin, Lady Ragnell, and snake woman. And the motivation of the workshop, well, it will be, what I have so far in mind is to present this in 2-hour sessions over the course of 4 meetings in 6 weeks. And in every meeting to work with one story, as each story brings a different layer of the a different piece of acceptance, rejection, like the parts of yourself that you exile to be accepted into community, or you to fit in, maybe. So yeah, all these stories have a different flavor. Like some of them are like looking at it from the perspective of doing it in a relationship, for example, and some of it just because you have lost your skin for a very long time that you don't even remember it, but everything is, although it feels very much okay, you know, deep down it's not okay. So they have all these different flavors. And yeah, this is pretty much it. It's, yeah, I'll be using journeying, yeah, this movement and storytelling. And I am planning to offer personal one-on-one sessions to support as well.
Yeah, that's a powerful combo for the themes you're exploring. It sounds so rich and vast, you know, and deep. exiled, and just the relationship between kind of being exiled and belonging and finding your way back, or reclaiming those parts that were exiled. It just feels so juicy, Irmak. So beautiful. And you're giving it like a really good amount of time. So it's, yeah, feels powerful. Thank you. And Nina Rabea, hello.
Hi. Oh, it's so beautiful to finally, get a sense of what everybody's doing. It's so great. Yeah, I knew it right from the start, that I will focus my project on the moon. And I actually thought like this is too easy. But it was so strong, so I'm going with it. And it's called Moon Body, Remembering the Rhythm Beneath Your Skin. And I base it on 3 moon phases. And yeah, and I will, do it via storytelling and creative expression. And yeah, so each moon holds a wisdom, and we want to honor it with our bodies, and then also see where it lands in our lives. So we will maybe have like a moon journal in between the sessions, and we will, at the beginning of the next session, we will talk about it and see what happened, what changed, what came and what went. So it'll be online 3 times, about 2.5 hours. And I already asked the women. I'm in a big European women's circle, and they're all healers and artists. So this way of moving your body will really, I know it will enrich and complement their way of going about what they're doing anyway. So yeah, this is what I'm mostly looking for. I'm really happy about that, and they are too. So they're ready to start, and it'll be according the European lunar calendar. So it will be end of September, October. So because I really want to do it exactly or close to the moon phases. Yeah.
Wow. Yes. Yes. Wow.
Back to
Moon
the
body.
basics.
Can you say the title again? I'm trying to repeat it, and it's Moon Body, the
Moon
rediscover.
Body, remembering the rhythm beneath your skin.
Remembering the rhythm between your skin. Wow.
Beneath. Yeah.
Beneath, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Nina. I'm kind of speechless actually about this one. It's just the moon body. Go rediscover your moon body.
Okay. It's so
Amazing.
basic. Yeah. And it came in so strong that okay, I'm opening up for the basics. Back to the basics.
Asked you to do it. It asked you to do it. That's what the word
Yeah,
wants.
and I would do it in English because this is the language I learned here. And then I really want to transform this into German and offer it live in my studio.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Beautiful work. Thank you, Nina. Let's go to Mouse Bird. I don't know if, are you there, Mouse? Oh, yeah. Can you unmute?
Video off because I think my internet is a little unstable. But can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, this is so cool. All these projects are amazing. Like, just like, yes, so amazing. So we're going to pivot from moon body to animal body. Is called Animal Woman, but I'm considering changing it to Animal Body because I haven't. It's a journey with the goddess and the sort of the cosmic principle of divine feminine, you know, but I'm really interested in like making it an all body experience, but still calling in the goddess. And so it'll be an 8-week journey, and we're journeying through the medicine wheel. So we'll be journeying from initiate to goddess through the 4 directions and the 3 worlds across the globe through time with animals. And so the animals are the sort of primary or sort of primal experience. Be journeying with the animals of the goddess over the course of the 8 weeks. And so yeah, it's will be each session we're gonna do intuitive drumming, and there will be song to begin. And so I'm gonna sort of create this environment of beings coming together to create space to commune with the goddess, and yeah, through our primal nature, basically. Yeah, so I'm having a lot of fun with that. And it'll be elemental too. So like the correspondences through the medicine wheel, it's like there's the directions, and so it's water, emotional body, and fire in the south with the serpent of integrated components that weave this all together. And I just want to invite, yeah, these bodies to get fucking wild and weird and like just like get in contact with death as the owl, and like, you know, get in contact with these dark feminine principles too, like wolf, spider, owl, crow, dragon, snake. So these sort of like these animals, you know, that have been demonized and monstrosized and cast out. And so reclaiming relationship with them in an empowered and sovereign way so that we can walk with these intelligences and not be afraid of them, basically. Yeah.
Ooh, wow. Who here is excited to go play with the animals at the workshop? Wow, thank you so much, Mouse. Wow, I just bow to the complexity that is here. I just a couple of days ago saw your diagram that you posted, I think in the WhatsApp chat, right? And the drawing that you had made of the structure. And it was so actually clean and like completely geometrically simple that I was like, oh, this is how it's going to work out. And initially I was like, wow, there's so much here. And then it was like, oh, it's so simple. It's a, you know, it's the circles and the flowers and the sacred geometry. So it's going to work. Of course it's going to work. It's so beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm so excited. And I really, really am excited to hear that you're thinking about of all the bodies and being invited. So that's all the animals and all the bodies, of course, you know, and the goddess. Why not? Okay, let's go to Anna last, our last presenter today.
Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Great, thank you. So my project is called Elemental Somatic, and it is a 2 days embodied ritual journey in which, It is for women who want to get in contact again with the wisdom of their bodies and the power of their sensuality. And during this journey, we use the 4 elements as a portal to open one by one all the layers of the body. So it's a 2 days retreat, but it's non-residential, meaning that people are gonna go back to sleep at their own places. And it is happening in a forest house that is one of my favorite places for doing my my events. It's a really an amazing place, and so the idea is to use embodiment and a lot of connection with nature and sensuality, these 3 elements, and rituals also. All these elements to really create this embodiment of transformation, like feeling it in their body. So the first day we start, every half a day there is a different element. So the first morning we are starting with the earth, and obviously it's gonna be like grounding music, more like slow drumming and more like slow practices. I'm thinking maybe the small movement, but I'm also thinking like a movement on the ground, the one that when which you're kneeling and moving the spine a lot. So I have to a little bit finalize that. And I also want to use as a sensory tool ropes, like connecting a little bit with the BDSM and Shibari. And the ropes can be a tool for, they're really grounding because they're pressing on your skin, and that is a really calming feeling for people who are not claustrophobic. And obviously, no one is like, it's not mandatory for anyone to do anything. So yes, that would be the grounding, the earth. And then there is the lunch break in which I want to give them, first of all, okay, no, there's going to be some integration after each one of the portals, obviously. So probably like one time there will be drawing, another time I will think about something else. So water is for flowing, and the emotions, and the day after is air, so expression, and then it's working with voice and breath, and then we finish with fire and transformation. And I think I'm gonna use the witnessing also for the transformation part.
Hey, wow. Thank you. What was, can you say the title again, please?
Elemental somatic.
Elemental somatic?
Yes.
I think you changed that, right? Or
Yeah, I changed it.
Okay. Is the audience also changing? Because I think you were going to work with people who have done a lot of trauma work or encountered.
Yes, it's
It's the
yes,
same.
same. I just realized just now that it will not be mothers probably, because to be away for 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, it's probably not suitable for mothers. But I'm open to mothers as well.
Yeah. Beautiful, Anna. Wow, I love that it like this the forest is waiting, and there's like also like elements that are everywhere, but also the elemental like rope and shibari and connection in that
And for the
way.
water, I have a massage oil, so there's like a lot of sensual stuff that we are incorporating.
Beautiful. And are you doing this with another facilitator, right? There was
No.
Huh.
No, maybe that's Andrea Balin. We have both of us are making the elements.
Okay, maybe that's what I was thinking about. That's right. The sound person there, yeah. Thank you so much, Anna. Beautiful work and amazing promise of this workshop. And look, I have, of course, obviously like so much to say, and I've been saying things, right? But I want you also to have a chance to respond. So I want to go to Carmen and Michelle just for your reaction or anything you want to share, obviously. to what we've been hearing.
I'm feeling deeply inspired. I've been writing as each of you have spoken about just ideas that are percolating in me. And I just want to highlight that this to me is the magic of this work, is that it is endless, endless possibility. We can take any story, any element, any wound, any anything, and make something beautiful and potent from it. And I hear how much heart and love and your own curiosity shows up in what you've chosen to work with. And I know for me, finding projects can be challenging because I end up getting like FOMO. I hear something doing something else and I'm like, wait, maybe this is the wrong idea. I should go do that. And so I just want to encourage you to stick with what you've grabbed onto and really just chew on it and play with it and digest it and metabolize it. Just really, really go there and put all of your energy into what you have chosen. Um, yeah, yeah. I'm so excited. I want to be at every single one. Honestly, truly. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Yeah, me too. It's
Yeah. And I love that, well, Michelle was already pointing that out, but it's, it's you shining through the work. So there's something that we've gotten to know about you in these months that we've been journeying together, and I can just already sort of imagine you bringing that into the work, and you've already brought it into your plan, the topic you've chosen and the way that you're choosing to execute it. But I'm just so like already feeling that excitement of you offering it and tapping into that intelligence, like Stephanie was saying, like that intelligence of the work is speaking through you in this project. Yeah, and that's so cool. And I want to congratulate you on going from like so many ideas. We heard a lot of ideas, and they've now crystallized already so much more. And just speaking them now, I think is helpful for you to get even clearer. So it's been wonderful to see you, massaging the idea into shape. So we're rooting for you.
So much so. Yeah, we're so rooting for it really is amazing that you've anchored in, of like the endless possibilities, which
Exactly.
exist
Yeah.
and that you will be tapping with this work later on. Now you've anchored actually something that is deeply personal to you, deeply exciting to you, like just really your own. It's like a gene. It's like a gene, right? It's like a deep body gene inside you that's been waiting to become activated and supported and bloom. And so I feel really like my life force increased as I heard you speak. So I suggest we have a celebration dance before we take a break. Like, why can we just celebrate our field ideas with a little musicless dance? You can also unmute yourself if you want. And yeah. Woo. Yes. Yes, so amazing. And you can keep dancing through the break too if you want. But we're going to come back at 44 past the hour, so in 10 minutes. And we're going to keep working with what do you need for your presentations? What kind of questions may you have and so on. So we're going to set that up, but let's take a 10-minute break. Let's say 45 past the hour. Let's do that. Right. Coming back when you're ready. Turning. The recording's still happening? Yes. So just give me one moment to get some light in here. Yeah, a little better. Hey, so I just wanted to invite or just to give you some clarity about how to orient to presenting your project. And after that, we can take any questions around these things, like, and we're going to basically go into an open Q&A together, discussing some just final refinements around like language and technique and essential guidelines for how to really skillfully offer this work in whatever context you're offering it in, right? It's just kind of, yeah, that's what we're looking at until the end of the call. I am really hoping that we're going to start speaking about inclusivity today and then speak more about it on Wednesday on the practicum, but let's see what we really have time for. But so I've said this many times and you already know this, but in September and October, we will be in presentation mode. And presentation really is one of the labels for this, but I don't know if there may be a better word for this. It's basically a chance for you to demo, to not only present, but to guide an experience into a portion of your field project, which you already practiced with at least once, and some of you a couple of times. But just you're going to choose a segment, a piece of it. Like obviously not going to have time to dive into the real deep, the full journey, but you will have at least 30 minutes. Well, let's think about it as 30 minutes. However, you're going to have a little doorway, and I'm going to tell you about it in a moment. But initially, and as a golden rule, I think we can think of it as a 30-minute presentation / experience. How you decide to structure it is entirely up to you. We don't necessarily expect you to have a full intro, full outro, like to have the integration component, because we fully understand that this is a presentation of a segment of your work, right? We're not expecting a full-blown journey. You don't have to strive to have all of the elements in there. So whatever feels good to you, you could begin by describing a little bit of what this is and what this segment is about, or you can just dive right into it. There really isn't too much limitation or structure around how to do it. You can actually choose to begin with drawing or writing, right? You don't have to, there really isn't a rule around this is how you should, you should have this element and then that element. We're not really requesting that or requiring that. So you have a lot of creative freedom here. You can begin with creating connection between the group, people saying one word or one phrase. It's something I do a lot in my workshops. For example, I would walk into a room and just to warm up the room, I will say, just give me one word for how your body's feeling today, or give me one shape for your present state, or you can start anywhere. So the sky is the limit, as long as this really is an invitation for you to practice all kinds of skills, right? So whatever you feel like you want to practice, maybe warming up your community is a good skill to practice. Maybe using kind of a initial, how do you get people up from the chairs? Like, okay, here we are. I'm going to guide you through a workshop. I've noticed that a lot of guides at the beginning, they just forget, and we count on all of us here being movers, but oftentimes the people we're working with, they're not really ready movers. So how are you going to even get people up from the chairs, right? So let's begin standing, or maybe you begin with a stretch, or maybe start right in the chair, touch your body, then whenever the moment comes, right? Like, so just think about what kind of skill do you really want to practice? and just have fun with it, play with it, play with what you want to master and where you want to shine the light on your own skill and mastery, right? And another skill I really invite you to practice is timeliness and tracking your own time, because we've done a lot of this here for each other. We do it for you oftentimes, but when you're the facilitator, you have to keep track of everything, even if you have supporters and assistants. So much. Oh, are we an even number in the group? Sometimes you walk into your workshop and you have no idea how many people are going to be there. So you've planned on dyads or trios, but the numbers don't work. So you have to have a backup plan. Oh, what if I want to do dyads, but there's an odd number of people in the room. So maybe I can ask Carmen or Michelle to step in as a mover and fill in for a trio right? So you just think as a facilitator, there's so much to consider. And this presentation is asking of you to do that. How am I going to do it? Am I going to share my sound? What is my playlist going to be? Am I going to use music the entire time? How am I going to check the levels before and during the workshop, right? Because I usually do both. And you see, like a lot of the time, even if you come fully prepared, something backfires. Oh, my headset doesn't work again, or my Wi-Fi throws me off. And not that you can take care of all of it perfectly, but just to cover your ground as much as you can. And keeping track of time is one of those things, like, so, oh, how many people are going to be there? What if someone says, my leg hurts today, so I'll participate, but I won't be moving? How will you use inclusive language to allow a disabled body to participate in your work? Yeah. Imagine, for example, that you want to practice inclusivity in the sense of gender fluidity. So this audience here, maybe all of it, these people, they're using the she pronouns and identify mostly as women, but your audience may not be the same. So if you want to practice the skill of gender inclusivity, you may be using gender inclusive language, like, if you don't have to identify as a woman to participate in this practice, or where I'm inviting all bodies, whatever anatomy you come in, however you identify on the spectrum of gender, you're welcome here, right? And let's begin by you sharing your pronouns if you want, if that's important to you. You don't have to. If it's clear, and if you don't want to specify, that's okay, right? So just really thinking about what is important to you to invite in your language and your inclusivity framework. A lot of people like to think about, especially in the United States, and I think honestly at this point, it's all around the world, but thinking about racial inclusivity. So, if you have one, this happens a lot, and I'm guilty of it. Like if you have a room of white bodies, and then there's one black body, which very often is the case in white dominant spaces, where all of a sudden there's a black person who, frequents white spaces. That's kind of usually what happens, right? So all of a sudden there's a black person. And oftentimes facilitators, including myself, I've done that before, would basically be silent about it. Just like, oh, we're all the same. I'm colorblind. It's from the inclusivity and justice perspective, this is not really the right thing to do. The right thing to do is to say something about it. So for example, instead of saying, and I'm already speaking inclusivity, but that's a good thing, right? So instead of, for example, saying, we all have trauma, we all carry trauma in our bodies, which is true. But if you want to really be racially inclusive and sensitive and racially sensitive, you may say something like, we all carry histories of trauma in our bodies differently, defined and shaped by our colonial history, our, racial identity, and our racial belonging, right? You can like, and there's so much language we can really look at here that could work differently. But I think ideally, instead of me giving ready language, what I'm really doing is I'm inviting you to think about what kind of language may you use. Because, so this is a really good time to say this. Embodiment is not racially neutral. To think, to assume that bodies come equally prepared to do embodiment, to feel free in the space, or to address trauma or expression is to be blind and not well informed. And it actually may carry a tone of, well, let me put it this way. It needs work. It needs our attention. It needs our work, right? This piece. So to assume that bodies of color carry racialized trauma, hypervigilance, ancestral grief, survival strategies, and often feel invisible and or pathologized in a white dominant space is really crucial for us to consider. Do you know what I mean? So this doesn't mean that you come into the room and all of a sudden you have all the answers. You have all the knowledge about how race works and what Black or brown or Indigenous bodies feel. No. What I invite you to come into the room with is a sensitivity. Just like we come to the room with a sensitivity to the fact that we all have trauma, and that's a fact. I invite you to come into the room with a sensitivity that BIPOC or Black and Indigenous and brown bodies and people of gender fluidity and non-binary conforming people come with a very different set of needs, experiences, and traumas and the way they carry them in their bodies. So a sensitivity. And what this really means is not that you have to tiptoe around it or to pretend it's not there and somehow it's all going to go okay. But to actually, first of all, become committed to educate yourself about these things. Because as much as I want to do it here, we won't have enough time. And so I'm planting the seeds. And this is not entirely my expertise either. So I don't feel fully equipped to teach on this. But I've done plenty of reading and learning from other people about it. And I really invite you to do the same. And secondly, to come into the room with an openness, which means the opposite of defensiveness. I remember the first time a brown woman and a woman of Indian descent was in a space with us, maybe 30 of us, right? And all of us 6 weeks into the series that we come back again and again to, she said, well, as the only brown body here, I have not been feeling very safe or very acknowledged. And my initial reaction is, what are you talking about? I have not noticed. I haven't even noticed that you are different than us, which of course is the definition of privilege, right? So I became I instantly became defensive. I wanted to deny the fact that we have treated her differently, which we hadn't, but that doesn't mean that she hadn't been feeling differently, right? So just the fact that I hadn't noticed that I was colorblind doesn't mean that she felt enough, that she felt safe enough in a white dominant space, right? So what I'm suggesting is for you to begin thinking about these things. I'm not going to give you the ready answers of how you may address this. I'm just going to say it's going to require for you to think on this. And I'm going to say that it's going to require of you I'm inviting you to enter spaces with sensitivity and a lack of defensiveness, which took me time. Like the first time a transgender person attended my spaces, they were not outraged, but definitely very confrontational about me not saying women and non-binary people every single time I said women, right? And I was very defensive about it. And the first thing, but I also wanted to be accommodating, of course. And so one of the first thing I said was, please, I want to learn from you. So tell me, what do you need and how should I address your needs or you in the space? And they said, I'm willing to share a little bit. But honestly, the first thing that comes to mind, they said, is it's not my responsibility to educate you as a facilitator about the needs of gender fluid people or gender non-binary people, right? And it's true. And it's really a textbook thing that as a facilitator, anticipating to work in a space of inclusivity, you want to be prepared. You want to know how to enter a space where not everybody who looks like a woman is a woman or identifies as a woman. And to be completely honest, you can feel about it any way you want. You can have your prejudice, you can have bias, you can say, don't agree with people feeling that way about themselves. But as a facilitator, your role is to facilitate, not to tell people what to do or how to feel. Facilitate, again, is to make things easy for people, to make things happen. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it at that for now. I know that if we open this door, it's really endless here. But I also don't want to shut you up in this context. So if you want to ask a question or reaffirm anything or offer anything at this moment, I want to invite you. And then I'm going to keep speaking about your presentations. I just wanted to drive in some awareness at this point, because gender and racial diversity are some of the things that you're going to keep running into in the rooms you facilitate more and more than ever before. Its time has come, both for racial justice and colonial decolonization of our bodies and psyches, and also of like freeing up the understanding of gender. Whether you want to be that person or not as a facilitator, you're gonna have to come prepared to the room about this. All right. Let me see. So one thing I want to say, okay, I want to look at, okay. Yeah, something about the universal language. Sometimes when we are like, or all the women, or all the, when we say all bodies are equal, or all bodies, for example, I'm inviting all bodies, right? I do it, you have done it, you're considering doing it. In some ways, however, I feel like there's a way in which we have to, in the same breath of saying all the women, we also have to say, and maybe those of us who don't entirely identify as women, or maybe experiencing a non-binary fluidity inside them, right? Or we may say all the bodies, but also, let's acknowledge that some bodies inherently feel less safe in a space, like brown and black bodies. So just acknowledging, just speaking it out, instantly creates so much more safety for everybody there, including white people, including especially brown and black people. All right, so a lot more to say about this, but I'm going to backtrack a little bit. And I'm going to come back to inclusivity in another moment. But I think there's something in the chat, maybe I'm going to just pay attention to it now. Body diversity of shape and size. Yes, it's definitely, so how about this now? Actually, instead of like teaching on inclusivity, I'm actually going to put in the six anchors of inclusivity and embodiment. And I'm just going to give them to your attention. And we're not going to really discuss them in fullness right now, but I'm going to invite you to think about them, because Indigo's naming body ability and shape and size, which are, for me, two slightly different things, but definitely in the inclusivity range. Okay, I think I grabbed this. Yeah, okay. So body sovereignty, gender inclusivity, body size and shape inclusivity, disability and access awareness, racial and cultural. And then this last thing should be a bullet point, culture and personal context awareness. So for example, you may go to Japan and invite people to experience touch on their own bodies or on each other, and that would be a cultural disaster. It does not work in Japan, right? And there's like there's just so much to say about all of these things, but right now I just want to offer them to your awareness. I think I want to name something about body sovereignty the first thing, because it's a little confusing, like what about it is about inclusivity. And I think we've been doing a lot of this here. But for me, body sovereignty generally comes down to the fact that every participant is the authority of their own body. Like you do not assume, I do not assume that anything I offer should feel good or be accessible or be meaningful to them or be the right thing to do for them, for their body, right? So what we do is we use inclusive cues like we do all the time, suggestive, permissive, like Carmen demonstrated so beautifully today. If this movement feels supportive, go ahead. If it feels right to close your eyes, great. If you want to have them open, perfect. That's okay with us. Choose whether you want to enter this landscape or if you want to just observe it from the sidelines. What does your body feel like? Giving agency over and over again. That is how we honor body sovereignty, with inclusive cues that we provide over and over. Permission, freedom, centering choice and agency, right? And that is very trauma sensitive. That is very trauma sensitive orientation. Yeah. Any thoughts or questions about this particular thing? And I know, this is, and there's a lot more to say about all of these things, but anything is right there you want to add or ask about, wonder out loud. Okay. And this is not the last chance to do that. So of course, feel free to raise your hand anytime. So to come back to your presentations, right? I was just kind of laying these things on just because you may choose to practice these, right? You may choose to start practicing the language that includes other than assumes, right? Oftentimes, it's not that we use language that excludes, but we use language that assumes that everybody here is a woman, that everybody here has a womb. Well, what if they don't? That everybody here is young and therefore menstruating. But a lot of women are not menstruating while they're young. So you know what I mean? Like just we really, and this is mastery of facilitation. When we come to this place of without doing too much, this is not so that we can portray ourselves as so skilled and knowledgeable and languageful. This is just so that we gently and delicately open space for diversity and inclusivity and love and acceptance. Accepting the wound, accepting yeah. So we touched on this last time, but when I lead womb work, oftentimes, not always probably, but oftentimes I will say, it's okay if you don't have ovaries or your womb anymore. You have the blueprint. Your body remembers exactly what those were. There's memory there. Can you tap into that? Can you breathe into that? Yeah. And there's a lot to say about disability and access, but I want to make sure we talk about your presentations and then inclusivity. We're going to come back to it. It's also recommended reading at least a couple of books I really, really want to recommend to those of you specifically considering holding inclusive spaces, brave spaces. And those are going to be on your list for the session today. Okay, so your presentations require of you to decide what you want to practice in terms of skill, mastery, language, and timekeeping. It'll be tracking your time by yourself. We're gonna also be tracking time with you, but really I invite you for you to know, oh, I have 5 minutes. I'm going to start bringing it down. Oh, I have, keep tracking your time. So have you all seen the list where you have the order of your presentations, which day, which person? Yeah, I can show it to you if you don't have it, but it's there. I can also, so we have, yeah, maybe I can paste it here, but it's also in a document somewhere on the page. This is what we've got. And basically, we're going to be working in 2 separate rooms. You're going to be in one room with your home group, right? So where you have most connection and safety over time. Those are going to be your people that you're going to be presenting with. And only on our last day, we will have 3 people. I think that is, I think this is more confusing actually than, I don't know why this came out. This is confusing. But we can look at the document. So on Saturday, October 11th, we have Josefina Irmak and Nina M presenting to the whole group because the rest of the people will have already presented in the home groups and we're going to have the full group. So, and this was completely random, a random assignment. And if you want to move to the pod instead of being in the open space in front of everybody, or if you really, really want the full group's attention, come speak to us and we may be able to navigate that. But please do that as soon as possible. And so I want to say something about the real necessity for all of you to be present for all of the people's presentations, because it's so important for each person that we are all there, that we are all witnessing, that we're all loving them up, right? So it's not just because you're giving your presentation, now you're done and maybe you can miss a couple of calls, like it's just so potent to be there for each other, and it's going to be amazing. We're going to learn so much and experience so much. And so in the rooms for your presentation, you're going to have 30 minutes. Clean time, meaning you won't be taking extra time. You may push like a minute or 2, but really the ideal is that you begin on time, end on time, right? And then you will be hearing from 3 people, not everyone. We will assign 3 people to each presenter, who will then be giving verbal feedback, praise, and maybe something constructive, praise and constructive feedback, in about 3 minutes each person. So you will be hearing from 3 people. Your guide, respectively Carmen or Michelle, will not be giving you feedback on the spot, but they will be sending you your feedback in their preferred method, either in a voice note or written feedback. And I will also be giving you some feedback, although I'll be jumping between the 2 rooms and I want to have the full view and the full picture. So the last 5 minutes, another 5 minutes after that, is your space as a guide to say how this was, what might I do, what was nurturing, what worked really well for me, and what I might do differently with my group in the real world. And then we will take a 5-minute break after each presentation. And we're going to take a few minutes after that to set up the next guide. And so we're going to have about an hour, 55 minutes for each person alongside the break and some transition time. So 30 minutes for the presentation, 10 minutes for receiving feedback, 5 minutes for naming your, and of course I'm going to remind you of this again, but just I want you to know what to expect. 5 minutes for you to name your own things, and then a 5-minute break. Now, this is the slightly divergent door that you could choose to open, although, yeah, I'm going to leave that up to you. If you really feel that a longer journey, guiding a longer journey is really of the essence for you, you can choose to take that extra 9 to 10 minutes from receiving the feedback and actually extend your presentation by 10 minutes and guide a 40-minute segment, which means that the 3 people assigned to you to give you feedback will have to send you your feedback in a written way, in a written form, in an email form, or in a voicemail. However, I mean, I don't want to actually say however. We're giving you that option, and so that means we're giving you that option. You can choose it. That means that we're going to create a little bit more work potentially for the people giving you feedback. But given that as a person assigned for giving feedback, you're taking notes the entire time, that shouldn't be too difficult for the person to send one person the notes afterwards. Does that make sense? Does this make sense? Okay, good.
The person giving feedback is participating or they're a witness?
They're participating. No, so everybody's moving except for Michelle, Carmen, and I. We're just witnessing. The rest of you are guiding or moving and giving feedback through the movement as a mover. Yeah, I think that's it. And the request, if you remember, was that in September and October. Was it that though? Was it in September and October that we add half an hour to each call so that we have a little bit of extra time at the end to come around as a circle to share a little bit more? Did we do that for September and October, or was it just for October? I don't recall. Was it just for October? So look, I think we're going to have enough time to not take an entire half hour at the end of each call. But I just would love for us to be available a little longer, maybe for an extra 15 minutes each call, maybe up to half an hour for those of you who can allow it and afford it, just to be in conversation. Maybe some of the guys are going to have questions or are going to need some extra support, just to be there for each other a little more. However, the time for presentations allows us to fit into the 3-hour framework. But let's plan on adding, 15 to 30 minutes at the end of each call, September and October. And if you have to leave, you can, obviously, after the 3rd hour. Nina, Robea?
Stefan, I'm a bit confused. So the presentations are in the pods?
Yes. No, they're during the main call.
Yeah.
But they happen in 2 different breakout rooms. And those
Okay.
breakout rooms, you're in the pods, the pod combinations. Yeah.
All right. Gotcha.
Make more
Thanks.
sense? Yeah. Yes, sorry, that was confusing. Yeah, are there any other questions about this, about structure, about any of this good stuff? Yes, go ahead, Nina Robea.
I actually have one more question
Yes,
because I've done the first story in with Petra on the last call, and my time the time I need for the whole thing is about 40 minutes. And to make it shorter, it didn't feel good. And so could I, instead of choosing a story and doing it, just make something to tap into the moon in general?
Absolutely, absolutely. You can choose any segment you want. You can choose the shortest segment and just really flesh it out. You can choose to do a 10-minute movement only, but do an intro and then an integration through drawing and writing and poetry, right? It doesn't need to be any one specific full-blown thing, right? It can be a chosen segment, any segment you choose. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Erica?
I was just looking at the chat. So we, on the 13th of September, Nicole and I will have so each one of us will have half an hour.
No. Each person will have almost an entire hour because we have 3 hours. We have 3 hours each of the days. So in each pod, 3 people will be presenting per day.
Okay.
In each
1
pod,
hour.
3 people will be presenting per day. Actually, let me flash flash this to you really quickly so you can see the actual, because this is a little confusing the way it looks there. Documents, what? So confused.
But you sent this in email form already.
I did, and
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
having a hard time. Oh, can you see it now? No. Okay. I'm not sure how to do it. Yeah. So this is another thing that if you're going to be sharing an image, say, you know, I was thinking about maybe Mouse wants to show the beautiful diagram that's on there. You know, if you want to use an image just to practice those things, you know, ahead of time. It's a really good idea. Just like, how are you going to do it? How are you going to find the document? How are you going to share a video? And the way to practice is just to like open your Zoom room and do it, and maybe even do a recording. Yeah, so that is a presentation. Like, yeah, Michelle and I and Carmen are going to be helping you out. Obviously, that's our goal. That's our role in the room with you, to fully support you in any way. Not everything will be perfect, you know, but that's why we're doing it, just to give you a chance to make mistakes and yeah, work them out. Or not make mistakes, but just say maybe like a technical problem or things like that. But the more you can work out ahead of time, the better. And Mouse, bird, yes.
I have a question, and maybe now is not the right time, but I'm not exactly sure. Just in terms of like we're doing these presentations, and then part of the field project requirement was that we sort of initiated before the end of our
Yes.
container together, you know,
Yes.
but my project I'm wanting to initiate after the end of our container. And so is there, yeah, my question exists in that field.
Yeah, it's a good question. Thank you. It's important. So the design of the format is that you begin the project before the training ends. The reason being two reasons. One of the reasons being that you kind of have a part of your obligation is to check in with your support teacher after you hold your first gathering. And it's a way of supervision, you know, that's the one way we can practice supervision with you, is that you check in and say, hey, Carmen, or hey, Michelle, I did it. I did the first 1 hour, and this is how it went, and this is what went wrong, and what do you think? And can you give me some recommendation or feedback? It basically invites, it gives a possibility for us to really be present with you within the time frame of the training. The other reason being that one of the main goals is that for you to receive your certificate is that, you know, we require the part of the goal of the field work is that you request feedback from your participants. And so we assume that after that first experience, you can ask for initial feedback. You know, it's a must, basically. This is a must that like as a part of your field work, you ask people to give you feedback in writing, even if it's very brief. And you share that with us at some point. And so our hope is that you can share that with us before the training ends and before we issue your certificate. Now, if you absolutely can't, you know, if you have to begin after the beginning of the training, I would say, or the end of the training, I would say maybe you can hold an intro evening at least. Like maybe you can say, hey, like I'm holding a free intro to this workshop, and you lead a 1 hour intro, and that is sufficient. You know, if it has to be, then we can make that work. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, because the reason being that I'm traveling across the world to do the in-person
I
all
know.
together, and I'm in Turkey for like three weeks after that. And so I don't want to start it beforehand because I
Yeah.
need 8 weeks
And
to
that
start
makes
it.
sense. So if you can plan on an intro, that would be amazing, just because it kind of fits into the thing. And I think I said that in a comment to your field, to your project. I think I suggested that because I noticed that you're going to be starting. I don't know if you've seen my notes on that, but I think that can work. Yeah.
Mhm. I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense to have like a practice run through with a group and
Yeah.
practice
Yeah.
before the big offering anyways. Yeah, that makes a lot
Yeah.
of sense.
Awesome. Beautiful. Thanks for that question. I think it applies to a lot of people. So, one more thing. Bulgaria is happening. I know that we're going into more Q&A, but I just want to say this again, that it actually is coming up really soon. We're still expecting a couple of payments from people who are coming. So please do that soon enough, because I also have to make the full payment very soon for the center, and it's like deep in the pocket. So yeah, I would appreciate it. And who here is coming? For sure. Look at that. Michelle, maybe you're not coming. Wow. And it breaks my heart for the people. Josephina, really, there's a chance you're going to make it? Yes. And Carmen, you're coming? You're coming. Yes. Yes. So we have Indigo, Nina Rubea, Andrea L, and Michelle who are not coming, right? Hopefully Josephina is
I
coming.
still want to. I'm trying to put together this other program right now that would allow me to afford it. But it's just, I don't have the money yet.
Let's keep our fingers crossed for everybody to be there. Also, just on that note, really quickly, the following weekend, I will be going to Turkey, where Irmak lives. And it's kind of a spur of the moment decision, but I will be offering a weekend workshop there in her incredibly beautiful town called Fethiye. Really, I said it right? Wow. Yeah, I saw the pictures of that town and I was like, I have to absolutely go. And so Irmak and I have found, well, Irmak found a really beautiful space at a hotel, but really, like, really gorgeous space. So I'm going to be offering a workshop there, and you're very welcome to join us there. Where I will be giving really my full-on workshop, gift. And in Bulgaria, well, yeah, let's I was just thinking that I don't even know if I want to open that door, because then I don't know how to respond to maybe more requests about that. But I thought if a couple of you wanted to do your presentations there in person, maybe that's a possibility. But then you want to have the attention of the whole group and your support teacher. And so maybe you can repeat your presentation in Bulgaria. Yay. All right, so we will miss you, everyone who's not coming. That's for sure. I really wish you would be there with us. And lastly, I want to say this because it's like I'm so late with these things, but I think I'm also offering a workshop in Copenhagen on the 17th of October, around that time. Possibly. I'm still not 100% on that. Who might come to Copenhagen if I do that? Maybe, just maybe. Give me a maybe. Okay, good. Yay. I know many of you have been there already. Okay, thank you for that. And so let's come back to any questions that we may address around the deep body work at this time, right? Because this is kind of not the last session, because on our very last day of training, October, the last day after presentations, we have a full 3-hour call to ground and come back together and do ritual, and maybe you all lead practice, Michelle, Carmen lead practice. So we have more time, but just for some Q&A that is helpful now. And I'm gonna, maybe just let's pause. I'm gonna pause and just invite you to consider what may be really of importance to address. And I also have a question from Irmak that I have not yet answered, so maybe I'm going to start there. And as we speak about questions or answers, or basically discussion, open forum discussion, we're going to be addressing the essential guidelines that we kept repeating. Read them, right? The essential guidelines for facilitating movement-based embodiment and essential vocabulary. So we're going to be addressing these before we end today. I'm going to start with Irmak's question. How to do the back-end breakout rooms on Zoom. And can you say more about that, Indigo? What do you mean by
You can probably
that?
find it online too. I just realized I have never done any of the breakout room stuff on like facilitated the breakout room
Oh, I
stuff on
see.
Zoom. So that's just a
Mm.
technological blind spot, but it doesn't need to be covered right now. I think that there's
Wait a moment. Yeah, wait a moment. So I'm just questioning whether Zoom allows for us to create breakout rooms inside the breakout room. Probably not. So if people want to be creating breakout rooms as a part of your presentation, does anyone plan on creating breakout rooms as a part of your presentation? Do you, Indigo?
I'm not sure what I'm going to do
Yeah.
yet for the presentation.
Because I really doubted that Zoom allows it. So please let me know, let us know if you need to be using breakout rooms for your presentation. And then
Yeah.
we will figure out what to do.
I'm sure I can. Yeah, I
Yeah.
realize I can probably find videos on YouTube too of how to
I mean,
do
it is
I'll probably use it
something,
in my overall project and
yeah,
maybe that
yeah.
skill.
It's a really, really kind of straightforward thing, like that's in the menu bar there, and we can, and maybe, you can jump on. Michelle, did you want to add
Yeah,
anything?
I was just going to say you can maybe invite one person from your pod or from the group and just practice it, like to literally just, I think sometimes the physical, just do it and bump somebody out to a different room can be helpful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Great. And do you all know how to share sound at this point? Sound and headset and levels, right? You've all been working with that, so you're pros now. That's pretty cool. Okay, and then I wanted to, Irmak had sent me a question some couple of weeks ago, and I think it's really powerful and important, and you may have come across something like this. She was speaking about, I'm just going to rephrase it, Mark, maybe it's not exactly, but I think the gist of it is that you've been working with a client who is experiencing a lot internally and is working through a lot, and she's coming back continuously to you, and you're establishing safety and rapport, but she does not move very much. She's like, whatever you offer, however you offer her to move, she does not really get into too much movement. Is that accurate? Do you want to, yeah? And so Irmak's like, she was basically saying, however I invite movement, she's not really making much movement. So what should I do? And I would love to invite you, and I mean, out before Carmen and Michelle chime in on this, like I want to invite you to, as facilitators already, to see what you may want to say about this, Erica.
The moment you said that, I remembered someone that I guided, and as I noticed they were not moving so much, I decided to go into visualization through story, and then invited them to physically take steps down a path. And if they saw something on their path, to physically touch it, pick it up. And so then by these using visualizations and them interacting with what they were seeing, I was able to get them to move a bit more. And then after that, they moved slightly more. They were just a bit more comfortable in moving a bit more. But I only did one session with them. So I would hope that maybe the following session they might remember that and then move more. So basically I would say invite the movement through like a story, like them interacting in a story, and seeing if that helps to
Or
get them
visualization,
to.
inner imagery. Yeah, beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. and igniting the body in there, bend or kneel or raise something in your hands and smell it, or, now stretch or now give or receive or maybe, yeah, I can see how that works. Yeah. Anna.
So I've seen this from other facilitators. They start by giving movement vocabulary by like actually doing. So they say like, okay, now let's try opening movement, and they like make the whole group do the big movement. Then let's try sensual movement, and they teach you how to move the hips. And especially, I think it's important for the voice, because that's what people usually are super shy about. When you start by doing voice exercises, then people have an idea of the sound, the pitch, and so on, and are less shy about it. And then you do the journey, and the people have some example of what kind of movement, what kind of voices, and stuff like that.
It's a pretty good technique in a group environment, I think. Yes, I definitely see that. It's like just freeing up the bodies initially. I'm not sure if it works exactly the same way with a one-on-one client, right? But it is a really good idea to just put it in the space, right? Because it really works. I would say also, in addition to what you've already offered, Erica and Anna, well, I actually want to, like, is there a deep body technique that you can think of that is within the movement, Yeah, Nina Rebea?
Yeah, I was thinking of amplification, like because there is movement somewhere in the body, and even if it's just the breath. So,
Exactly. That's what I was going to suggest. Thank you. Yeah, so the amplification, right? It's like, which is to make something bigger. I would say something like, I see you very gently holding your heart. And I wonder if you could just, or, I see you very gently, holding your body or touching your skin, or I notice your body undulate, just noticing the tiniest movement they're making and saying, can you explore making that movement bigger now, just a little bigger, and then a lot bigger, maybe just a little more. Yes, just like that. And then now find the place within that range that feels right for you. It's a really, really good amplification technique. And it's like they use it a lot in different somatic movement environments. It's not just mine, right? But a lot of facilitators will work with like starting small. And even if the movement's big, they would say, I notice your arms spreading out, and could you try and make that same movement much slower or much smaller now, just to see how that feels? And then a little smaller, and then big again, and then find that point where it feels just right for you. And that usually hits the spot for them. Like people are like, oh yeah, just right here. And in me, I've worked with that technique, and it's just so powerful to find my own place in that movement. It's like, yeah, my body wants this. But amplification takes something, amplify. Okay, I'm noticing this small movement. Can you make it bigger? Can you make it even a little bigger? Just to see what happens. I oftentimes will stand up and say, I'm going to do it with you. Can you open my eyes? Let's do it together. Like, let's make it just a little bigger and just a little bigger. Yes, just like that, right? So just to free up the body a little more. Breathe. I'm going to breathe with you. I'm going to move with you. Is that good for you, Irmak, to kind of have enough many ideas to work with? Great. Erica says, also at the start, invite them to walk around their space to get a sense of the space around them. Yes, beautiful, exactly. It's like, let's walk the parameter of the space. Just take a walk. How do you walk through your life? How do you walk through this room? Just go touch the wind. Like, create movement opportunities for the body. Of course, we can go into the theme of, if someone's not moving much, it oftentimes it may mean they're not feeling their bodies enough. It may mean they're not feeling safe enough in their bodies. So we're going into trauma territory more. But, you know, I think this is just kind of laying a layout for now. Andrea L., do you have a question?
No, it's not a question. It's more that it depends on the situation. Sometimes not moving, that doesn't mean that inside of you nothing is moving. I had situation where a lot of inside of me is moving, but I'm not moving.
Yeah.
I'm talking about when I was in hospital 2 months, laying on a bed. I couldn't move, but so much was moving in me. I had such a process of growth by being paralyzed, for example. I mean, you know what I mean? For me, it's too judgmental to say when someone is not moving, there is nothing moving. They can't move a lot inside. I mean, depends.
Yeah. That is really, it's a beautiful point as well to consider that stillness holds its own medicine. And yeah, like, so there's many flavors, and the guide kind of is choosing, deciding, feeling what is actually at the core of this. Irmak.
Yeah, this particular question came up for me because what I felt with this client was she came to me because what I recognize is, and this is not just because of this client that I raised this question. I figured this may be, you know, in the future for some other clients as well. She has a lot moving already. I know that, and I recognize that. And it kind of rises this expectation in me. I recognize that too, just like Andrea told. But also she's a meditator, and she has all this mind visualization stuff going on and not much embodiment at the same time. And that's why she asked to work with me. And still, when she's not moving, I know not much is moving aside from what she's thinking, actually. And that's what she was, you know, that's why she came for me. So not even taking physical steps or starting the session with already, you know, circling the space was helping a lot. So that's why, but I think the amplification is might be helpful. I can work with that. Yeah.
Thank you, Irmak. Are there any other questions right now that can help us? And I'm seeing a lot of the bodies are doing their thing, some standing, some bending. Feel free. I know we haven't been doing a lot of embodiment, but maybe let's talk a little bit about the essential guidelines for facilitating movement-based embodiment. And in that way, as we speak, maybe we can also move in the remaining time we have. So let's together, and it's like I don't want to teach on that. I think I've taken enough time over the last several months to, you know, infuse with that. But I want to hear from you. Like let's name some of the essentials about when we guide movement-centric embodiment as guides. What is one of the essential things? What is at the forefront? Tell me the first thing. Movement-centric embodiment. What is that? What is our first goal? Put it on the body. Bring it to the what? Bring it to the movement. Yes. Put it to the body, bring it to the movement. Whether it's a dream or a story or a symbol or a thought or a, you know, memory of the past, and you know, my mother, and I don't know, I've never been able to whatever. And then as a guide, you might pause the person and say, I notice that as you speak about this, you hold your head and your hand is trying maybe to free something up. Can you just fall quiet for a moment and keep doing that movement? Or keep holding your hand, your head. What are you noticing? Oh, my head is so heavy. Right. Can you let it get even heavier? Right. So just, and they're going to keep trying to come back to speaking. Most people will. Most people are going to keep trying to snap out of the movement, snap out of the body, come out of the embodiment experience, resist change, resist repatterning. Your role will be to put it back, give it back to the body. Not to know what's happening. Your role is not to know what's happening, but to let the body tell you both what's happening. So bring it to the body, put it to the movement, bring it to the body, put it. You can have that recording in your mind constantly. Oh, bring it to the body, put it to movement. That's enough. What else? What else is there? What are the things that we must make sure to do? We did a lot of them today. Carmen did a lot of them beautifully. What is it? Tell me one thing that is an essential guideline. We put things on the body. How? What kind of languages are we using? Can you please speak with the voice? Anybody? Yeah, so Irmak saying sensation. I'd love to hear from a person with a voice, like anything you actually want to share that isn't,
Okay.
Maybe it's not an answer to, what's
I
that?
want to share something. You said this once, and that stuck with me. It's not a visualization. I don't know the word, but you know what I mean. It's the wisdom of the body can open up if there's freedom. So if we have our language very, close and make distinct pictures, it's not going to work. So to be open, to make suggestions, and yeah.
To use suggestive and permissive language, maybe as another way to put it. Inclusive, permissive, suggestive language, not a set language. We don't tell people how to move their bodies. We don't show them how to move their bodies. When I asked you to find your native undulation yesterday, I showed you how it may move in my body, but I also made very clear that I want you to find it in your body, that it may look similar to mine, but it really doesn't need to, right? There's always a lot of space in our facilitation, which is really not true in a lot of other facilitation styles, But this is what we do in this tradition. Irmak named sensations. I'm going to just jump on that and say our goal always is to bring things back to the primary somatic languages. The person's starting to go into story, into visualization, into imagination. Like even we as guides do too much of that at times because that's the juicy stuff. Oh, I'm imagining my ancestors. Oh, the landscape. I'm a desert. I'm a mountain. But like sensation, breath, sound, touch, movement, to always come back to that. That's the groundwork, that's the body, that is the body. And then to switch between the channels. Because if you stay with just the primary somatic languages, people will space out, people will check out soon enough. And this is my long time experience. I check out a lot when it just like in a somatic, okay, like but to be switching between the channels, breath, sound, touch, imagination, movement, collective body, myth, an image on the horizon, giving me a gift, and now touch, temperature, smell, movement. What movement? Oh, it opens up in me, sensation, story, breath, movement, right? Like switching the channels, so powerful. Always switching, not too often, not too much. maybe often, but not, sometimes I feel like that kind of facilitation, confuses me. It gets me out of my body when it's like now this and now that and now this and now that and now. I just really the fluidity, the continuity, maintain it, right? Maintain continuity, give space to each thing, but then switch the channel gently, holding a thread through it all. Weaving, says Erica.
Yeah,
Weaving.
I was going to say I really like this word that you've used many times before, and it's weaving all of the elements together, the language of the language of the soma, body layers, weaving all of that together and pendulating as well.
Yeah, exactly. Weaving, touching on all the layers of the body, right? Just not getting stuck in the sensual or the emotional or the perceptive, but really, you can choose one to be the anchor. You can choose, I'm going to work with the sensual body primarily, but then you're going to direct the sensual body to connect to the other channels. What's the image there and what's the emotion there, right? So you don't stay stuck with just one channel. Indigo says creating a range of possibilities. Yes. Can you say more, Indigo? Would you?
Yeah, opening up the range of possibilities by suggesting, you've often said suggest 3. Not too many, not too few, but it gives a range because it might spark something in that person that is totally unexpected because they may have never seen their belly as a desert or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, so giving suggestive language, and also, you often point out expressive or not expressive, movement vocabulary, really weaving that in. So it suggests what kind of movement might happen by using really clear, active language.
Yes. Yes, beautiful. Thank you. So we're creating a range of possibilities for the mover by suggesting a range of movement through her voice. Carmen was doing that a lot today. And now this and now they're bigger. And like she would get a little angry and she would get soft and then she would get small and she would get big, right? So we're with our bodies, with our voices, and with our vocabulary and suggestions, we're creating unforeseen possibilities for those movers, things that they would have never considered before. And then they're like, oh, that can be inside of me. Oh, my elbows can, come and really make space in my life for me. Wow. Yes, that feels right, So it's like, whoa, you're opening doors for them. Okay, beautiful. Nina Rubea says, using metaphors. Yes, that's working the channels. I think that's one of the languages to work the channels of the deep body, right? The enhancing languages, using metaphor. Beautiful. Andrea L., what is your idea?
At the suggestions, I experienced that it's when you give 2 or 3 or 4 suggestions and then also say, but maybe it's something completely different, and they love that because maybe it's something completely different you haven't thought about.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. So you're contrasting, you're juxtaposing. I think Indigo was also saying that to some effect. Yeah. Okay. Right. We've talked about tracking movers with your own body. Something I don't think we've mentioned enough that I really love, usually repeating, is that as you witness movers and you're tracking what's happening in the room. So, like initially, as guides, I think a lot of us are more focused on what am I going to say? What am I going to play? What am I going to offer next? Where am I going to go? Right. And I think the next layer, and one of the layers to develop more and more, is to pay attention to what's happening in the room as you say the things you say. And when you see someone or people responding to your suggestions, and you say, I call this naming the mover. You name the mover by including in your language that mirrors what they're doing in the moment, right? So you're saying, how does that landscape invite you to go inside it? and you see the mover doing something and you name, maybe it's inviting you to crawl through the grass there because someone's doing that, right? Or maybe you're just standing quiet with your hands on your heart, waiting, or just like in reverence of this landscape, right? So you're just noticing what people are doing and naming it. And the mover feeling named, feeling seen, that creates a lot for people. So that's one thing. So we have 5 minutes, and I really, of course, like the thing that I will be the most obnoxious about until the end of time with everybody we've ever trained, that I always repeat to Carmen and Michelle to be like really always kind of stern about it, well, not stern, but whatever, with you about it, is movement vocabulary and body vocabulary, right? Which is why I've also like it's in there. And I just want to, let's name some of it again. Help me. So to name the body, what's body vocabulary? When you name the body parts, right? Just hands, the Carmen had so much of it today. Carmen, what kind of things did you say today to name the body? You just remind us a few of them, like just in a nutshell.
Yeah, I mentioned the hands and the base of the spine and the hips, and then also the ankle, or I called the roots. So I was kind of trying to get you to bring your awareness to all parts of your body. I didn't go so much on the inside of the body. So you could also name like specific organs or a space like the womb. I did name the heart space, and I often like to also name the face and the neck, because we sort of move from the neck down. So to get moving, to allow the face to just to move or to soften. And what else did I name? I like naming parts you don't think of usually. So maybe like your elbows or your armpits, or I don't know, like your belly button, let your belly button lead the movement.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much. And you had that and much more too. So that was like a really rich vocabulary today. And so we're naming the body, but we're also naming the body through the movement vocabulary for the body, right? So we're naming body parts, we're naming body organ systems. You can say the liver, the womb, the lungs, right? The hair, the tooth, the bone, the soles, the feet, right? Like all of that. And we're naming the body also through its movement expressions. Give me some. What are the most basic movement forms of the body? Nina M says, by the way, that Carmen nailed it today with naming the mover and her guiding today. Beautiful, Carmen. Yeah. So give me movement vocabulary, please. Who, how,
Slithering,
what is it?
shaking,
Yeah,
slithering.
right. So I guess I want to make a distinction. So like the verbs we use as movement verbs, right? Like the move, kick, shake, crawl, scratch, push, sit, sway, kick, whatever, right? That's an endless array of movement verbs, right? And that's part of the movement vocabulary for sure. But I also want to start with a very simple thing, so gesture, shape, posture. That is the body. That's the body. It's naming the body and it's beginning to move the body, because a shape is not, it's not just the body that's inactive. A shape is a moving shape. So gesture, let's not forget, I know you know them, right? But just to bring it back, use them. Gesture, body parts, posture. What else? Remember the face? Like facial, I mean, we said it and Carmen just said it, but just the facial expression is like such a primary thing to name the body, to get an unexpected area of the body to move. I love getting people to guide their dance, to try dancing from the head. And when the head starts moving, the whole body gets free, because the head never moves. The head never ever moves. So if you get it to move, you're freeing up the whole body, and people lose balance and get dizzy. So it's a whole other. But okay, so there's a quality of movement too, and I'm saying like this is the last thing I'm going to say because I want to put it in there. Quality of movement, speed of movement, fast, slow, rhythmic, fluid, staccato, gentle. You can use these things to bring the amplitude, the rhythm up and down. And then the quality of movement, sharp, soft, slow, dynamic, rhythmic, shaky, sensual, stompy, stormy, fierce, angular, directive, exaggerated, dramatic, subdued. So much there to, the risk being saying too much, of course, but to have the vocabulary is so helpful. So it's still there. It's always going to be on the Deep Body Guidebook, but that's the primary thing I'm always watching out for when people are guiding. You're giving me conceptual questions. You're asking me, what are you going to do with your life? Who are you seeing on the horizon? What is the eternal dancing woman giving you? What is the soul of the... All of these are conceptual questions. So now give me language for my body. Give me language to move with these questions. And this is where I see mastery arising. And I see you doing it. So it's we've been doing this, but just reminding that these are the essential things. All right, people, let's do some of these qualities: gentle, staccato, pushing, pulling, tapping, tiptoeing, because we gotta go. And so, yeah, so another day of a lot of talk about embodiment, but also important. Let's move the bodies a little bit. Please unmute. I feel a little lonely. It's time to hear our breaths and voices together. You are all lovely, and you have made this weekend so fun and so rich. And thank you so much for being present and informed. And we will see you in about 10 days for the practicum. There's a movement space coming up on Tuesday with Rebecca. Please remember that if you want to go. Thank you. Thank you, Carmen and Michelle as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.